weather's looking crazy, a storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud from the city.
Just a minute. We got a Houston, we got a problem here. Okay, somehow we got our music taken down. This upsets me a great deal since we have had our music and it is AI music assigned to me, and now our music's been taken down. I fear that they have now crossed the line again. I'm sorry to say they've crossed the line again, but it doesn't surprise me at all. YouTube does all kinds of things, whether they want to admit it or not. They've crossed the line again. We'll try to figure that out in the coming days. Maybe it'll take more than just a couple of days, because this is the weekend. We want to welcome you to the weekend. Yay! It's a weekend. How about that, guys? We made it to Friday. I called it the weekend at about 12 noon today. It is the weekend, guys. Welcome to Friday, November 7th. It's a great day in the neighborhood. Some good things are happening. Number one, the Senate is in session right now, speaking to the Democrats. The Democrats have said they only want one thing. That's health care. Okay? They want health care. Fine, they can have health care, but as soon as they open up the government, the Republicans are going to take out health care from illegal aliens. As soon as they open it up, we'll take health care away from the illegal aliens. That's going to be gone. Okay? That's one good thing. We may get up an open government as of today. Hopefully by sometime tonight, we'll have an open government again. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, guys. We appreciate you being here tonight. We want to ask you all for some effort, if you will. Make sure you're still subscribed to our program. YouTube has been unsubscribing people. They've been shadow banning a lot of us. So please subscribe to our channel. And when you do, make sure you click on that little bell icon. There's a small little tiny bell icon right next to the subscription button. Click on that. When you click on that, there'll be a drop-down menu of 3 items come up. Click on the word ALL, all. That way you'll get notified of when we come on the air as well. But again, YouTube does not always notify everybody. They plainly don't, okay? But we want to make sure you get the information that you need so you know when we come on the air. I've given you that information, but we also come on the air between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Now, actually, it's Eastern Standard Time now. They changed from Daylight Saving Time to Standard Time last Saturday night, Sunday morning. So that's the other thing we want to talk about. They changed Daylight to Standard Time Saturday night, Sunday morning last week. So we're here on Standard Time again, and it's getting dark as we speak right now. Okay? Just right before 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, that's going to change greatly within the next 30, 60 days. By the end of January, we'll be getting dark here about 3:30 or 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So when we come on the air, it will probably be dark here in North Carolina. Now, we have some earthquakes we need to talk about. Let's go over the USGS map here. Okay, let's go over the USGS map and let's talk about earthquakes here for a few minutes. Okay, I'm going to talk very candidly about the UPS flight in a few minutes. I'm going to show you some definite pictures that you're going to want to see. But first, let's talk about what is going on with the earthquakes. Okay, that's been our primary mission here on this channel, is to talk about earthquakes anyway, and we're going to do that right now. Okay, let's go to these earthquakes right here. Okay, we're showing you the Kamchatka Russian Peninsula here. This is southeastern Russia. Okay, Russia owns this whole swath of land here all the way out to the Kamchatka Peninsula. South of Russia is China. Okay, right here. This is a large 5.3 earthquake southeast of Kamchatka Peninsula today. Okay, why are we having earthquakes here? Guys, we had a major, very major earthquake here over a month ago. USBS said it was an 8.8, was a 9.4 earthquake. Major full plate rupture. As a result of that plate rupture, I've explained it time and time again. I'm not going into it tonight, but it was a full plate rupture. We're going to continue to have earthquakes for probably years now. Okay, it's gone over a month, and yes, USGS does not always show all the earthquakes every time they hit. They never do. We had a major earthquake, a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake over in southeastern Turkey at the Turkey-Syrian border. They're not showing the earthquakes there. They get anywhere from 30 to 50 earthquakes daily at that juncture point of Syria and Turkey. Always. Why? Because that major earthquake hit. They're getting aftershocks. We're still seeing aftershocks here. Okay? This is a 5.3 large earthquake. 5.3 large earthquake. This is actually it's 10 miles deep. 9.9 miles deep, over 10 miles deep here. Okay? Right just northwest of there, or northeast of there is a 4.3, I'm sorry, not a 6, but a 4.3 moderate earthquake. Northwest of there, this is a 4.6 earthquake, 35 miles deep. West of that 5.3 here is a 4.6. USGS has it as a 4.4. The EMSC has it as a 4.6 moderate quake. This is 57 miles deep. Right just south of there is another 4.8. This earthquake here is 46 miles deep. Still a substantial shallow quake. Not very deep, but it's still a shallow quake here. Semi-shallow quake. Let's go down here, southeast Japan. Okay, guys, this is a 5.0 large quake in what they call the Izu Islands here, southeast of Japan. The Izu Islands belong to Japan. The Izu and Bonin Islands here, where we have earthquakes, are unoccupied islands. Unoccupied islands. This earthquake is 13 miles deep. This earthquake here is a 4.6 moderate quake, also 10.7 miles deep. Okay, Izu Islands here, belonging to Japan. Let's go over here. Okay, you're going to want to see this. Okay, just off the northeast coast of Taiwan. Off the northeast coast of Taiwan. This is a 4.5 earthquake. Actually, I'm sorry, not Taiwan, but Luzon, Philippines. Taiwan is up here to the north. This is off the coast, northeast coast of Luzon, Philippines. This is the largest island to the north of the Philippines. Okay, that's not the largest island of the Philippines. This is the largest north island of the Philippines. This is a 4.5 moderate earthquake. Off the central portion of Luzon, Philippines here. This is another 4.5 earthquake. This is 29 miles deep. Okay. Let's go down here. Again, we've been having earthquakes here for about a month now. Okay. Just southwest of here, we had a 6.9 earthquake. 6.9 earthquake. That affected this island of the Philippines right here. Okay? Up here to the north. Okay? This is a 4.6 earthquake. This is near Tobago, Philippines. Tobago, Philippines. Okay? This is a 4.6 earthquake. It's just along the shoreline here. Literally. Okay? This earthquake hit here, and there are people that live here that felt this earthquake. Now, this is a moderate earthquake. This is a mid-range moderate earthquake. This earthquake shook these people. Now, moderate earthquakes can do moderate damage. They can knock pictures off of walls. They can knock books and knickknacks off of shelves. Most people have cupboards where they keep their dishes, their plates, and their glasses. If you don't have adequate shelving, you may be losing some plates and glasses, as the plates and glasses will shake and they could move off the shelves and break. It could happen. Now, I'm not really familiar with the type of shelving the Filipinos have, but I know for a fact that a lot of them don't have a lot of things. A lot of Filipinos live in shacks. And guess what? Earlier this week, a typhoon hit the islands of the Philippines. A huge typhoon hit the islands of the Philippines. So they've already been devastated by that high wind and rain typhoon, and now they've had a moderate earthquake as well. That happens. That happens. We can pray for the Filipino people, the great and industrious people. Okay? But again, these are not the only earthquakes here in the Philippines. USGS is not telling us in almost anything. Look here, Indonesia and Papua New Guinea. They're not showing us any earthquakes at all. 36 earthquakes here in Indonesia, they're not showing any of them. Most of these earthquakes are 3.2 to 4.8 earthquakes. 3.2 to 4.8 earthquakes here in the Indonesia area. They're not showing much of anything, nothing. They rarely do. It's sad. I hate even saying that. I hate saying that. Let's go over here. Vanuatu. Actually, this is the Loyalty Island just south of Vanuatu. This is also a 5.0 earthquake. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. This is 10 kilometers deep, 6.2 miles deep. Very shallow earthquake. Over here in the Fiji Island area here. This is a 4.5 earthquake, moderate earthquake here in the South Fijian Islands. This is also 343 kilometers deep. Actually, 343 miles deep, I'm sorry. This is a deep earthquake. This is a deep earthquake. Now, I keep having to check this to see the depth here, and hopefully it'll stay on kilometers, because this is actually 549 kilometers deep. This is a deep earthquake. This is a deep earthquake. Let's check the depth of magnitude conversion chart here. Right here. 549 kilometers deep. We have to go over here on the second column here, over to 550. We have to add a 1.1 to this magnitude earthquake. 1.1 is going to add huge, huge earthquake. Huge earthquake. This earthquake that we had was a 4.5. 4.5. That means we're going to add a 1.1 to this magnitude, and this earthquake right here is going to propagate or birth a larger, shallow earthquake to the tune of a 5.5 to 5.6 earthquake. 5.5 to 5.6 earthquake will be generated by this earthquake here today. That means within the next 3 to 10 days, we're going to see a much larger, shallower quake. A 5.5 to 5.6 destructive earthquake. It could happen here in the Fiji Islands. It could happen in Loyalty Islands further to the southwest. It could happen in the Vanuatu Islands. It could happen in the Solomon Islands, or even maybe over in Papua New Guinea, as you see on your screen here. It could also generate an earthquake over in Tonga, just to the northeast. Tonga. Okay? This earthquake just north of here, also in Fiji, near Levuka, Fiji. This is actually 251 kilometers east of Levuka, Fiji. It's here in the South Pacific. This is a 4.5 earthquake. 4.5 earthquake, guys. Guess what? This is also 534 kilometers deep. Let's go back here to the depth of magnitude conversion chart here, and let's look at this. Okay, 5.3 earthquake, or 535 kilometers deep. We're going over here and we're going to add a 1.07. 1.07. This is a 4.5 earthquake. 4.5 earthquake. That means we're going to add 1.07 to this magnitude. We're going to have a 5.5 to 5.6 earthquake here. Again, this is going to be a 5.5 to 5.6 large earthquake, shallower and large earthquake. Again, it's going to affect everything from over near Papua New Guinea, all the way over here into Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, the Legacy Islands, Fiji, and even the Tonga Islands. Now, these earthquakes can also happen to even go further east. These larger, shallower quakes go further east over here in South America, Chile and Argentina. It's happened before, it might happen again. So sometime within the next 3 to 10 days, we're going to see a larger, shallower quake hit as a result of these two earthquakes. 2 large earthquakes are going to be propagated because of these 2 moderate, deep earthquakes. Going over here further to the east, Tonga. This earthquake is a 4.7. 4.7 moderate earthquake, 62 kilometers south-southwest of Oahu, Tonga. 4.7 earthquake. This earthquake is a shallow quake, 35 kilometers deep. This earthquake is not going to propagate anything, it's too shallow. Shallow earthquakes propagate more dangerous quakes. Go over here to South America. There are 42 earthquakes here in South America. Most of them over here in central Chile and northern Chile as well. They're showing us one earthquake over here in northern Chile. Right here. Actually, this is the border area of Peru and Chile. This near Palca, Peru. Guess what's here? This happens to be a 4.3 earthquake, but we also have a volcano here. Sabancaya volcano is also in the nearby area. Sabancaya volcano. It has been erupting. It has been erupting. That eruption may have caused this earthquake. The Sabancaya volcano that has been erupting may have caused this earthquake today here near Palca, Peru, and the border region of Chile and Peru. Okay, let's go north here. Ecuador. This is a 4.5 earthquake here in Ecuador. This is a 164 kilometer deep quake. 164 kilometers deep is still a fairly shallow quake. 4.5 earthquake here. But again, this is just one of 43 other quakes. Yeah, incredible. One of 43 other quakes. Incredible. Incredible. Now, we talked about the earthquakes down here in the South Sandwich Islands in recent days. Now we have an earthquake up here on the north. Actually, it's in the north central part of South Atlantic Ocean. Okay, if that makes sense. This is near Ascension Island. Okay, what have we had down in the South Sandwich Islands? We've had a bunch of fives, haven't we? We've had 5.0s, 5.3s, and 5.5s, and even 5.9 earthquakes in the South Sandwich Islands. Now we have a 5.0 earthquake over here in the North-South Atlantic Ocean. North-South Atlantic Ocean. 4.9 magnitude earthquake on the central Mid-Atlantic Fault. Mid-Atlantic Fault. How about that? That means seismic energy has left the South Sandwich Islands and come up here in the north central part of the Atlantic Ocean. If that makes sense. Still in the South Atlantic, but it's over here in the north part of the South Atlantic. Okay? A 5.0 earthquake here. That energy is going to continue up here through the Mid-Atlantic Ocean and could actually end up over here near Iceland or in Iceland as well, probably within the next week and a half. We'll look at that as it moves here. Okay, keep an eye on it as it moves north. Now notice this. One more earthquake over here in Greece. I saw this early this morning after I first woke up. This is south of Crete, Greece. This is a 4.2 earthquake south of Crete, Greece. Where's it at? It's on the edge of the plate, everyone. Sits over here on the edge of the plate. You can see the fault line here. Where's that fault line originate from? It continues out here to the east, goes south of Cyprus, and goes right up into the middle area of Turkey and Syria border. Goes right up here. Exactly where I told you that we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake here, February 3rd, 2 years ago. February 3rd, 2 years ago. And as a result, today, we're establishing aftershocks that quick. Let me open up my device here, and I'll show you all the earthquakes that have been here in this area as a result of that major quake over 2 years ago. Nearly 3 years ago. How about that? February 3rd, it will be 3 years. Incredible. Literally incredible. Let's open up our webcam. Look at all these earthquakes in this region. Look at all these earthquakes in this region, guys. It's incredible. These earthquakes are a result. All of these earthquakes are aftershocks of the 9.0, 10.0 earthquake that happened here 3 years ago. Incredible. It's still rocking and rolling. These earthquakes are 1.0. They're 1.0 to 4.5 earthquakes. 1.0 to 4.5 earthquakes, aftershocks of that major earthquake nearly 3 years ago. Incredible. Literally incredible. Now, I want to show you something else. We had another large earthquake over here in Western Turkey, northwestern Turkey here. Sorry, I moved the wrong map. There we are. We had another large earthquake here just a couple weeks ago. About a week ago, actually. 1 week ago. Look at this. Over 200 earthquakes here. Over 200 earthquakes. Why is USGS not showing us any earthquakes here? Over 200 earthquakes. Aftershocks of that 5.0 that hit here last week. Incredible. And still USGS not wanting to show us anything going on. So sad. So very sad. I feel bad. I really feel bad. Because that area is still rocking and rolling. Okay? Let's go over here to Italy. Right over here to Italy. What's going on here? Can anybody remember to tell me what's going on here? We have a volcano, don't we? We absolutely have a volcano here. Anybody know what's going on here? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. We have earthquakes here as a result of this volcano here. As a result of this volcano. Right here. Let me show you this. .0 tremor here. .7 tremor. Just north there, a 1.5, 1.3, another 2.2 earthquake. 4 earthquakes here near Naples, Italy. There is 1 earthquake down to the south there in the ocean here. This is a 1.5 tremor here as well. And yet they're not saying one word about these earthquakes. They're not saying one word about these earthquakes. They're hitting. Why are they not talking about it? Why are they not talking about it? Inquiring minds want to know. We want to know. They don't want to talk about it because they know what's going to happen here. The agencies know what's going on. When we have a volcano that's rumbling, causing these earthquakes, at some point in time in our history here, we're going to have another eruption of the Vesuvius volcano. What happened when Vesuvius last erupted? All kinds of damage. It was a catastrophic volcano eruption. Hardly anybody lived here, yet people were killed all around the volcano. Now there are millions of people living all around the volcano. This is just urban areas south of the volcano here. Out to the east of the volcano, look at this. Urban sprawl here. To the north side of the volcano, look at this. More urban sprawl. When this volcano finally erupts, people are going to lose their lives. People are going to be unalived. Thousands of people injured as well. Complete and total destruction. Complete and total destruction all over again. Maybe that's why they don't want to talk about it. They know exactly what's going to happen. There are other earthquakes all around Europe that they're not showing us at all. Hundreds of earthquakes here in Europe they're not showing us at all. Sad. Sad. Because those earthquakes, no matter how small they are, they're affecting populations here. They may not be felt, but they are affecting populations here. When we have swarms of earthquakes, they beget large earthquakes. Fact. We've shown that to be a fact in the past. It will be a fact going on into the future. The day before yesterday, we talked about earthquakes in Southern California. As you can see, they're continuing, but again, they're not showing us all the earthquakes. Over 500 earthquakes happen here every day in the Imperial Valley. Earthquakes happen over here in San Diego County. Earthquakes happen here all over Los Angeles and Orange County here. They're not showing us even a quarter or even a third or even an eighth of the earthquakes that are actually occurring. 400 earthquakes a day hit in Los Angeles County alone. Incredible. Let's go over here to Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. Again, they're hardly showing us anything going on. Over here near Vallejo, California, this is a 2.1 minor earthquake. North of Vallejo up here, Glen Ellen, California, 1.15 tremor. That's normal. That's normal. The geysers area here south of Clear Lake volcano, we know why that's happening. Because this is a geothermal area. People have been digging and tunneling into the upper magma chambers of the Clear Lake volcano, taking steam from the volcano and transferring that steam to turbines, to turbine facilities here. One turbine facility right here. There are a total of 81 turbines throughout the Sonoma County area here. 81 turbines powered by steam from the Clear Lake volcano that is providing electricity for most of California and also for Utah. Rocky Mountain Power derives some of its power from the geysers facility here in Sonoma County, California. Wine country. They typically have anywhere from 20 to 40 earthquakes here in wine country every day. 20 to 40 earthquakes here in wine country every day. That's what happens every day. They're not showing any earthquakes here at Clear Lake volcano. There are earthquakes here. Most of the earthquakes are 1.2 to 2.8, 3.1 earthquakes all around Clear Lake volcano. Clear Lake volcano is an active volcano. And again, they're not showing anything because they don't care. Clearly, they don't care. Over here to the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone that we talked about yesterday, right here, on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault starts up here off the coast of Northern California, that runs all the way through California, all the way down to southern Mexico. Right here we have a new earthquake. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake here on the San Andreas. This is a 1.9, 2.0 earthquake here on the San Andreas Fault. Okay. Now, of course, they don't show any earthquakes here in the Juan de Fuca subduction area or on the Cascadia subduction zone. There are earthquakes here. I showed that to you yesterday. They are showing some earthquakes here, such as this one at Mount St. Helens. But they're only showing us microquakes. This is a 0.2 microquake here. Interesting, there are hundreds of microquakes. There's hundreds of tremors. And yes, we have probably 30 to 40 minor earthquakes and probably 1 or 2 3.0 to 3.5 earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier daily. Daily. But they're not showing here at Mount St. Helens. Guess what? This earthquake is here near Mossy Rock. It's a 1.0 tremor here in Mossy Rock, Washington. Guess what? Guess what this is? It's almost right between Mount St. Helens and Mount Rainier. They're not showing even one tremor, microquake, or full-blown earthquake here at Mount Rainier. We showed you earthquakes here yesterday. Earthquakes happen here every day. Be advised. This area is under earthquake watch. They're under earthquake watch because we are having small earthquakes here every day. Every day. Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are under earthquake watch because, folks, Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens are in a pre-eruptive stage. They're in a pre-eruptive stage. Going further north over here to the Puget Sound area, the Cascadia subduction zone area. This is a 1.3 tremor near Kingston, Washington. In the Puget Sound area, Ludlow, Washington here, a 0.7 microquake. There are hundreds of earthquakes here in the Olympia area, in the Olympia Peninsula here. Hundreds of earthquakes here daily. They're showing us 3 tremors here. 3 tremors. This happens to be a 0.7 microquake here. Over here at the entrance of the Strait of Juan de Fuca here, that's what this body of water is here that connects Washington with the Strait of Juan de Fuca and the Cascadia subduction zone and the Juan de Fuca fault. The Strait of Juan de Fuca here. Near the entrance to the Strait of Juan de Fuca, we have another 1.8 tremor here. 10 kilometers northwest of Neah Bay, Washington. Okay? This is actually the first earthquake I've seen in the past 6.5 years at this location, near the entrance to the Strait of Juan de Fuca. Okay? We come out further to the west here, you see the Cascadia subduction zone here. We go further out to the west, we see the zigzag fault called the Juan de Fuca fault. The Juan de Fuca fault. This is the location where we expect to have a 9.0, 10.0 Cascadia megathrust earthquake. 9.0, 10.0 Cascadia megathrust earthquake. That seismic energy is going to radiate all the way up here into Alaska and all the way down south to northern Mexico and all the way across Canada and the entirety of the United States to the East Coast. That's going to happen. That will happen. The Cascadia earthquake is going to affect the entire North American continent. Fact. You can take that to the bank. Now, I briefly showed you earthquakes around the world. I have a lot more to show you here. We have a lot more to talk about. Now, I promised you we would talk about the airplane accident we had this past Tuesday. I'm going to show you some pictures here. These pictures, while they're not that graphic, they're still graphic. Those people that don't want to see these should basically turn their head while they look at the screen, or they have the screen here. Turn your head away from the screen. But this is important information. This is very important information. First off, look where that UPS flight was, even before it lifted off the ground. Right over the runway. Right over the runway. See that sign that says UPS 9? That sign is approximately 2,000 feet from the end of the runway. Flight 2976, UPS flight 2976, had just barely gotten off the runway. Just barely gotten off the runway. Look at this. This is a longer distance picture of that same flight. The left engine had already dropped off the plane. We're going to explain that right now. I want to explain what happened here. Then we're going to talk more about emergency preparedness here. Moments before the flight left the runway, moments before the flight lifted off from Louisville Airport, fully loaded, MD-11 freighter. McDonnell Douglas made this freighter. It burst into flames, carving a half-mile scar of destruction through warehouses and scrapyards near the end of the runway. Within minutes, National Transportation Safety Board investigators were on the scene. Newly reviewed and revealed footage shows investigators and pilots what they feared most. The aircraft itself lost an entire engine mid-takeoff. How does a modern wide-body jet built to survive even a single engine failure tear itself apart on departure? What exactly does the day before yesterday's first NTSB briefing, along with physical wreckage, reveal about what really happened out on the runway? Let's talk about it. The timeline that no one disputes. UPS Flight 2976 was operating in McDonnell Douglas MD-11 freighter, tail number N259UP, November 259 Uniform Papa. The jet rolled out of the factory in 1991, first taking passengers out of Thailand. It converted for a cargo aircraft in 2006, and it has spent most of its life flying heavy freight across oceans and continents. On the night of the 4th of November, 3 nights ago, this freighter was headed from Louisville, Kentucky to Honolulu, Hawaii, a long haul route that demands everything from the aircraft and what the aircraft has to give. There are 3 crew members aboard, a captain and 2 first officers. One of the officers responsible for navigation, the other first officer in charge of being the second captain of the aircraft. Why do they do this? That way it's an augmented setup for overnight flights where rest breaks are required. No loadmaster was on board. UPS phased those out years ago. At takeoff, the aircraft was close to maximum gross weight, around 630,000 pounds, with about 280,000 pounds of Jet A1 fuel. That's roughly 75 tons of jet fuel sitting in the wings and the center tank. Sitting in the wing tanks and the center tank. The weather was clear. Dusk light was fading over the runway, over the entire airfield. And the MD-11 lined up on runway 17 right about 5:15 p.m. local time. According to flight tracking data, the jet accelerated to roughly 184 knots. That's about 210 miles per hour. From brake release at the first part of the runway to the moment it stopped seconds later. Within that single minute, 63 seconds later, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. The plane barely cleared the 12-foot airport fence because it lost one engine. It rolled violently to the left and slammed into industrial buildings just off the runway's end. What followed was a wall of fire that consumed a half-mile stretch of warehouses and scrapyards and part of a storage oil facility. By the time first responders reached the scene, 9 fatalities were confirmed, including all 3 crew members and several people on the ground. It's a horrifying sequence, but it didn't come out of nowhere. The early violence here now supported official briefings that paints a picture of complete mechanical failure that unfolded within seconds. Complete and utter mechanical failure. I haven't even gotten to talk about the back engine at the tail. Guess what? It was part of the problem. When the NTSB released portions of its initial press briefing the other day, it included key statements confirming what aviation officials had already suspected. NTSB board member Tom Chapman told reporters and told all of you during that briefing that the airport closed-circuit television clearly showed a bright plume of fire beneath the left wing before takeoff, followed almost immediately by the engine number 1 separated from the airplane. Engine number 1, left wing separated from the aircraft. Investigators have since located the engine on the airfield itself, a fact that removes any doubt that it came off before the aircraft left airport property. We showed you that sequence of events last night. We showed you dash cam videos. Dash cam videos showed you yesterday were taken near the industrial roads that support the timeline. You can see the jet lifting steeply off the runway with its nose high, trailing a column of fire along the left wing. In less than 3 seconds, the light disappeared behind the horizon, followed by the unmistakable flash of the impact fireball. There's no glide path here. The plane was no longer flying. You saw the left wing deep, completely up and down, vertical with the ground. The left wing tore through warehouses, tore the ground up on the other side of the warehouses. Other ground photos also match the tracking data exactly. The entire airborne portion of the flight lasted only a heartbeat. The ground photos I showed you last night show the crash path slicing through Grade A auto parts and Kentucky Petroleum Recycling, both located directly beyond runway 17. Questions have been asked why they had a petroleum recycling facility at the end of the runway. That seems highly irregular. Why would you put a petroleum facility, whether it was recycling or not, at the end of an airport runway? The consistency between the footage and the flight data gives investigators high confidence in the sequence of events. Incredible. Utterly incredible, guys. What's important here isn't just what we see, though. It's what those visuals imply. The continuous flame from the moment of rotation, meaning the time the nose lifted off from the ground. That's called rotation in airplane jingo. Okay? From the moment of rotation where the nose lifted off, tells us the fire wasn't a random spark after impact. It was fueled mostly certainly from fuel lines or tanks ruptured when the engine mount failed. The wing aircraft tank, fuel tank, ruptured when the engine fell to the ground, when the engine mount failed. Right now, investigators are going to be looking at why the engine mount failed that held the engine to the wing. The fact the entire engine detached, not simply caught fire, points toward a structural or mechanical failure inside the pylon assembly holding the engine to the wing, rather than just basic engine fire. It was structural failure. In other words, this wasn't just a flameout. The aircraft lost literally a third of its power and a major chunk of its structure at the same point. That distinction matters because modern airliners, including the MD-11, are built to fly safely with one engine out. This was a structural failure, where not just one engine out, but the engine had left the aircraft, severing part of the aircraft wing, and thus the fuel lines and the fire, because the engine wing fuel tanks have been severed. These aircraft are not designed to lose an engine and a piece of the wing that carries fuel and hydraulics in the middle of a takeoff sequence. That's a different level of catastrophe. The newly released NTSB footage also showed investigators walking the debris field on the runway. I showed you that yesterday as well. Walking literally shoulder to shoulder with their eyes on the ground, looking for engine parts and photographing the parts on the ground. These parts aren't just scattered far from the pavement. The parts are scattered within airport fences and on the other side of the airport fence, confirming that the failure happened on the runway itself, not after the aircraft nosed up and climbed away. You can also spot the shattered poppy lights, those precision approach indicators indicating you're nearing the edge of the runway. They're called poppy lights, P-A-P-Y lights. Those poppy lights are bent and scorched, likely struck by fragments from the departing engine. Those lights sit a few thousand feet short of the end of the runway, which gives us a rough idea of where the breakup started. Very sad. Very sad. Now, it's right around this point. It's right around this point that pilots call V1. For those who aren't familiar with pilots, V1 is the last split second where the crew can safely reject a takeoff. Shut engines down and keep the plane on the ground. Past that point, V1, you're committed to takeoff. There's not enough runway left to stop the flight. That timing makes this scenario even more dark. The marks on the pavement show the jet kept rolling straight through after the failure, meaning the crew maintained directional control, meaning it's going straight forward, despite the explosion. And asymmetric thrust, meaning the thrust didn't stop. All three engines were firing at that point. Then one engine fell off the aircraft. Once the engine tore free, there was no real chance of an abort. They were already beyond the point of no return. The National Transportation Safety Board's FODWalk, FODWALK, their debris pickup walk. It's a plan that the NTSB has for walking runway, picking up spent parts off the runway every time there's been a crash. That way those spare parts are not spare parts. They shouldn't even call them spare parts. Those parts that have fallen off the aircraft won't damage other aircraft in the future. The FODWOC plan, that's foreign object debris mapping. Foreign object debris mapping. Okay, they're using manpower on the ground. Like I said, men, women, shoulder to shoulder, looking at the runway, looking on the side of the runways. They're using drones and laser guided grids to track and tag every small piece of the plane on the runway. Bolts, mount lugs, hydraulic lines, even fuel coupling fragments. By studying how those fragments spread, engineers can determine the exact moment and location the structure failed from what's visible so far. The breakup seems to have occurred right at rotation when the nose lifted off from the runway, traveling about 180 miles per hour. The instant when aerodynamic load on the wings suddenly spikes, because suddenly the wings are holding the entire aircraft in the air. Losing an engine mount under that kind of stress doesn't just remove thrust. It rips open fuel and hydraulic systems that run through the same wing route. That's why the fire grew so violently, and why the MD-11 lost control in seconds, literally seconds. So when we combine the entire timeline, the video and the wreckage pattern, unfortunately becomes brutally clear of structural failure. Structural failure on the wing where the wing was attached to the motor, to the engine. Structural failure on the left side wing. It occurred precisely at the most vulnerable second of flight, leaving the crew with zero tools to save the aircraft. Leaving the crew with zero tools to survive or save the aircraft. I can only imagine the minds of the 3 air crew on board the plane. I can only imagine what they were thinking, the feelings that they know was going to happen. Once the engine came apart, the rest of the scene unfolds in brutal mechanical logic. Every system on board the MD-11's left wing. Every system on the left wing depends on that structure staying intact. The hydraulic lines, hydraulic fuel that's controlling the wing surfaces, the fuel feed to the engine, and the actuators, the actual switches that control the slats and the ailerons. When one engine either explodes internally or tore loose from its pylon, shrapnel would have sliced straight through the maze of lines. In a heartbeat even. You get a pressurized fuel fire and sudden drop in hydraulic pressure. That's not a fire indication. That's a torch under the wing fed by its own plumbing. Investigators and the MD-11 pilots following the footage have pointed out no other clue. Actually, one other clue. A brief puff near the tail. You don't see that puff here. That puff at the tail happened just seconds before. Guess what happened? Likely a compressor stall in the center engine, the center tail engine. A compressor stall in the center engine. That's number 2 engine. If hot debris or a pressure pulse reach that intake, if hot debris from the separated engine of the left wing hit that middle center engine on the tail, all it takes is one piece of debris to cause the second engine to stall out. That piece of debris could have momentarily choked the fan on the engine, stealing even more thrust when the aircraft could least afford to lose it. So now you've gone from 3 engines to effectively 1.5. And that's a deadly combination thrust asymmetry, plus hydraulic loss, hydraulic control of the flight surfaces. The left wing would start losing its lift as its slats retracted under aerodynamic load, while the right wing kept flying normally. The result is a violent roll to the left that no human could counter at 100 feet high. The MD-11 aircraft is technically certified to climb on 2 engines, but that's assuming everything works. At the time of rotation when the nose lifts up, there's no altitude, no airspeed buffer, and literally no time. Using both thrust and control authority over the aircraft, control authority of the wing surfaces. Loss of both of those means airplane is no longer controllable. No longer controllable. It's just physics here. It boils down to just physics here. It's interesting, during the past 5 minutes, we've lost at least 10 viewers. We're at 36, now we're at 27. One longtime MD-11 captain watching the footage of the NTS briefing called this a no-win scenario. He put it bluntly: you can train for one engine out. You can't train for the engine disassembling itself on takeoff. No pilot is trainable for that. They have no videos or other training surfaces to work with. Nothing. The plane disintegrates literally on impact on the ground, tearing through buildings, killing 9 other people on the ground. That's what happened here. That's what happened here on the runway just a few days ago. Does anybody have any questions for me? Kathy Aveyah says I'm too close to that microphone. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me, guys? I'm sorry if I'm too close to the mic. I'll back off a little bit. Can everybody hear me good? Linda says it's been a rough week. I'm sorry, Linda, if it's been rough for you. God bless you. Maybe we need to say a prayer for Linda Covington as well. God bless you, Linda. Hurricane Heather says 5 by 5. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, Hurricane Heather. Thank you, Don, for that. Do we have any questions about what happened with this aircraft? Any questions here? Again, the NTSB is still going through footage. They're going through all the pictures. They're going through all the video, and they're actually scouring the ground for parts and everything else. They're still going through that. Parts are still on the ground. The NTSB investigators asked us yesterday, anybody in that area, see plain parts, anything doesn't look familiar, call the FBI to come pick it up. The FBI is good at cataloging evidence. FBI won't hurt you or anything else. They're there to collect the evidence. God bless baby Linda over at Linda Covington's. Yeah, Don, it reminds me of Vietnam. It reminds me of Korea, because my father was in Korea, and he showed us pictures. My former father-in-law that died a few years ago would also show me pictures of Korea that he didn't like talking about. See, I know what it looks like. It's pretty bad. Like I said, I was also at one aircraft accident in San Diego that I probably should never see. Very sad. Very, very sad. But I want to get this information out because we have people that are pilots and people that are emergency managers that ask me to put out the information to all of you. That way you have the information. That's our purpose here. Okay? I'm not trying to steal information. I'm not trying to put out information that shouldn't go out. This information is already out. But I want to make sure you guys had this. Heidi Petrick is asking, could this have been sabotage? They don't know yet. That's hard to say. Okay? I'm not even going to say that at all. I don't know what's going on. Okay? They're not going to know if it's sabotage or not for weeks, maybe months. Okay? Yes, in probably 6 to 18 days, they'll have a preliminary judgment about what happened. As I told you today, because I've gone over the evidence myself, I've given you my own look at what's going on. And the NTSB will coming out with its preliminary report in about 6 to 18 days. Then they'll come out with the final report in about 12 to 18 months. Okay? It's going to take that long to put together the entire report. As they pick up these airplane parts, they're going to reassemble those parts in some kind of order on the ground in a spare hangar. That's what they do. That way they can get a better look at exactly what happened to the aircraft. They take a spare hangar, take all the parts that they can gather, and put them on the ground inside that hangar so they can tell what happened. They can try to catalog everything. Okay? They take pictures of it, they go through and mentally log it and write the report. Now they carry tablets, electronic tablets they can enter information and take pictures with out in that hangar. Before, they were cataloging parts, cataloging pictures, writing stuff down manually. They may still be doing that, but now they can have tablets that they can enter information on. It's going to take some time. I don't envy what they're having to do. It's painstaking, it's hard. It's unreal. It's unreal. I've known NTSB investigators, and in fact, several years ago, I was asked by an NTSB investigator in Denver if I wanted to help recreate aircraft accidents, because he found out that I was an accident investigator cataloging vehicle accidents. I said, I'd like to do that. But all of a sudden, he dropped out of sight. So I don't know whatever happened to that. Hey, Arnold, it's good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, if nobody else has any questions about this. Don Patoka says forensics takes lots of time. I agree. If you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to the next part of our program. Want to talk about earthquakes and preparedness. I want to talk about earthquakes and preparedness. Okay. I put together this presentation about 3.5 years ago. I'm basically going to start off with Cascadia, the earthquake we first talked about when we started this program. The Cascadia megathrust earthquake, the 9.0, 10.0 magnitude earthquake that's going to happen probably within the next 5 years. Now, I can't put an exact timeline on it, but I believe, and so do a lot of other people, it could happen within the next 5 years. Okay? Scientists over the years have urged government officials to prepare for a terrifying, unprecedented magnitude 9 megathrust earthquake. Now they're saying it's going to be a 9+ earthquake, 9 to a 10 magnitude earthquake, a megathrust earthquake that could possibly unleash a deadly tsunami as large as 50 feet to 150 foot high. The Cascadia subduction zone I showed you just a few minutes ago is a region where two tectonic plates are colliding. Two tectonic plates are colliding here. Okay? The Juan de Fuca Fault, and the Cascadia subduction zone, and the North American plate. The North American plate. Crazy. Absolutely insane. The Juan de Fuca Fault is a small oceanic plate. That plate is being driven under the North American plate, atop which the continental US sits. Let's talk about subduction systems, where one tectonic plate slides under the other just like this. One tectonic plate slides under another just like this. When that happens, this combination of tectonic slip are capable of the world's largest known earthquakes. The largest known earthquakes. A prime example was the 2011 Tokyo earthquake that rocked Japan. Chris Goldfinger from Oregon was there when it happened. He saw what happened. He was in a meeting when it happened. And they ran out of the building because it was shaking so violently. They ran out of the building out to the middle of the yard outside the building. He saw the ground separate. He saw fissures developing on the ground. The Cascadia earthquake that Chris Goldfinger and others have been talking about, that I've been talking about for years, has been seismically very quiet compared to other subduction zones, such as Tokyo, Indonesia, the South Sandwich Islands, and Antarctica. But Cascadia is not completely inactive. Research indicates the fault ruptured a magnitude 9.0 plus earthquake in 1700. That 9.0 plus earthquake is typically 30 more times powerful than the largest predicted San Andreas earthquake. 30 times more powerful than the largest predicted San Andreas earthquake. Researchers suggest that we are within the roughly 300 to 500 year window during which a large Cascadia event may occur. Let's think about this. In 2016, government officials did participate in a very extensive earthquake drill. I was there. The first drill before that was in 2014. I was there for that as well. Federal, state, and local officials were there from several states, because when the Cascade earthquake happens, it's not just going to affect Washington or Oregon. It's going to affect southwestern British Columbia as well. Some of those officials were also there. It's going to also affect Idaho. Washington connects with northern Idaho. We had Idaho officials there. We had the National Guard there. We had Utah officials there. We had California officials as well, and even officials from Nevada. Years before that, participants worked on plans and protocols for possible rupture of the Cascadia fault line. In June, between June 7th and June 10th, when I was there, 2016, our teams came together with several states there and agencies, federal, state, and local, and we opened up emergency operation centers. Spokane, Seattle, Vancouver Island, Vancouver, British Columbia. Operation centers in Idaho, Boise, Idaho opened up. The Emergency Operations Center in Salt Lake City opened up. Carson City, Nevada, and also Northern California. There's increasing concern about the possibility of a megathrust earthquake. Another report suggests the growth of subtle electromagnetic signals. Those signals have been detected in the upper atmosphere, of the Earth. Why? Why is that? Those electromagnetic signals are coming from planetary alignments. Electromagnetic radiation from planetary alignments. Those electromagnetic signals have been detected in many parts of the world, even over the oceans of the world. The most intense signals appeared on the US, on the West Coast, and parts of the Midwest. Some of these signals also appear in the northern latitudes of North America and in the southern Pacific Ocean. More ominously, a report says that scientists have confirmed the independent analysis of New Zealand mathematician, a longtime weather trends forecaster, Ken Ring, who predicted the deadly earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand. Scientists have declared that, like other citizens had thought, that this is not just a matter of when, but it is. It's not if, but it's a matter of when it's going to happen. When the devastating earthquake strikes, like what happened in New Zealand, like what has happened in Anchorage, Alaska. Remember that? Anchorage, Alaska. I was on the air in 2019 when that hit. We talked about it. I was on the air for like 3 hours. 3 hours. The rupture of the fault line could cause damage and destruction on a scale bigger than the Japanese quake and the tsunami of 2011. Can you imagine that? The rupture of this quake is going to be larger than what happened in Japan. Ken Ring from New Zealand explains his methodology for forecasting earthquakes in the following way. The other planets have a strong influence on the Earth, but indirectly. Electromagnetic radiation. Some influencing from the sun. Some planets are very large. If the sun were a basketball, the gas giants Jupiter and Saturn would be the size of a grapefruit. And Earth on a such scale would be the size of a grain of pepper. The size of a grain of pepper. Can you imagine that? That's why the electromagnetic influence of planetary alignments is so critical here. Jupiter and Saturn have an extra pull on the sun, as in the case of the Earth and the Moon. These larger solar tides become solar activity and solar flares. We had 2 X-class flares in the past 48 hours. 2 X-class solar flares in the past 48 hours. That solar pulse, that solar radiation from the plasma radiation hitting the Earth is going to hit on Saturday, tomorrow. Together with normal plate tectonics and underground forces. And for example, Jupiter and Saturn creating a time tug of war. Jupiter and Saturn creating a time tug of war with the Earth in the center. That's why in different places of the Earth, earthquakes occur above a magnitude 7.0. Different places in the Earth have earthquakes of a magnitude 7.0 because of the pull of planet Saturn and planet Jupiter having electromagnetic influence on the Earth. We've talked about this before. Referred to in this report, low pressure associated with catastrophic earthquakes in the Midwest, which today continues to suffer from heavy rainfall and snow. And in particular on the New Madrid Fault that we've talked about. On the New Madrid Fault in Arkansas, which is only in the last 6 months, they've experienced several thousand earthquakes. Several thousand earthquakes. We keep talking about that. Why? Because, folks, the New Madrid Fault is probably going to pop within the next 2 years. Several thousand earthquakes just in the past 6 months. Imagine that. But the most ominous part of this report is a warning that penetrated faults in California can survive the most devastating earthquake during many decades. Those penetrated faults could survive and can survive the most devastating earthquake during many decades in California. Further interesting here, because of the cascading disaster drills that we've held, that I've been part of, the United States declared that regular exercises with the U.S. military, the U.S. National Guard, agencies of the federal government, ATF, DEA, the FBI, Homeland Security Forces, state and local police and sheriff's forces, fire departments, paramedics, and ambulance agencies all over the area have also participated in these drills. Representatives of Canada have also been there, from Ottawa, Alberta, and British Columbia, Vancouver Island, Vancouver, British Columbia itself. They were all there. They're still participating. These agencies are ready to respond to the threats of the earthquakes. All the agencies that I've mentioned now are ready for a response in case of these earthquakes. Why DEA and ATF? Because they are law enforcement people. They are first responders. Many of them were regular police officers on the street before they became feds. They're very familiar with people on the street. They're very familiar with people living in homes, very familiar with people living near the oceans. They can help us. That's why we've asked them to help out. The Red Cross has also been there. Fortunately, if the worst thing happens, because of the cross-training of diverse agencies, if the worst happens, we believe that our success and hopefully increase in the numbers of survivors will be a consequences of our training and readiness. Hopefully, we will make sure that other people survive that may not have survived before our training happened. The preparedness plan that everyone has discussed and planned is coordinated between scientists, government officials, emergency services, first responders, health providers from hospitals and other healthcare agencies, and business experts. As everyone knows, the longer the wait, the bigger the quake. With major earthquakes rattling around the entire Pacific Ring of Fire lately, even during the past few weeks, we know that the plates have been locked and loaded. The energy, the stress, the force is locked up. And when it does release, that power and unleashed fury will be very dangerous and devastating. It'll be very dangerous and devastating. Now, I know we have a lot of work to do here. We can be very proud of the multi-year effort that's been put forth by many agencies and all of our work management team that was on scene in Washington during these drills. We started off with the National Guard and these other agencies, and it's expanded to include the entire region. The training has expanded to the entire region, guys. But it's not just that. It's also the commitment of important people. Entire communities have also helped us. Effort put forth by entire communities to make time and resources available in support of this Cascadia Earthquake Initiative. After all, it will become incumbent on our regional partnerships and collaboration with people on the ground, communities, entire communities, and the first responders to execute this critical mission. And the support of its survivors when they need us most. The support of survivors when they need us most. When the catastrophic mega earthquakes happen that we've seen occurring around the world finally get here, it's going to be incumbent on all of us to be together to help people survive what's happening. Up until the last decade, most of this has been ignored until they put and pose a direct threat. And we now believe that we can support the survivors and hopefully save many more lives. Since 2012, geologists were able to deploy 55 GPS monitors on the coast of Oregon. They finally deployed those in 2020. They deployed those GPS seismographs on the surface of the ocean, on the bottom of the ocean. And as a result, those seismographs and GPS monitors are recording subtle ground deformations that result from the plate's inability to slide past each other. The plate's inability to slide past each other. It's creating friction. The plates are held together by friction, guys. Sand, dirt, debris, biological material. When that debris heats up, as a result of either solar flares, plasma radiation, and or electromagnetic radiation from planetary alignments, all that crap that holds those plates together, friction, is going to dissolve into a greasy, oily-like substance. When that happens, all earthquakes happen after that. Not just on the plates, but also the tectonic, not the tectonic, but the earthquake faults where we all live. All the stuff that holds those faults and the plates together will be released. And that's when we're going to see more and more earthquakes. That's when we're going to see the megathrust earthquake happen. Right now, these sensors have recorded 80,000 earthquakes a year. 80,000 earthquakes a year. Let me tell you something. I thought I'd written this down before I came on this program, but I'm going to tell you right now what that figures in to be on a daily basis. 80,000 earthquakes every year. 365 days. Let's look at this. Hold on a second. That's 219.17 earthquakes every day. 219 earthquakes every day. 219 earthquakes we didn't know before these sensors were put down on the bottom of the ocean. 219 earthquakes a day, 80,000 plus every year. Now, if we are indeed having at least 219 earthquakes a day, why is USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network not reporting these to the general public? I've asked that many times over the past 7 years I've been doing business. Yes, in April will be 7 years. Why is the USGS and the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network not reporting it? That's been my question. Just like historic seismicity, plate locking up is the most common in the northern and southern part of Cascadia. The plate is locked up in the northern and southern part of Cascadia. And also around where? San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles, and the Imperial Valley. The plate is locked up. Why? Because we continue to see everyday seismic energy. When the plate is locked up, the seismic energy is not going anywhere. It can't. Geologists are now able to observe difficult to detect seismic rumblings, known as tremors. They still don't report tremors either. I show those tremors to you on the seismograms every time I come on the air. We talk about earthquakes in Los Angeles, Southern California, San Francisco, Cascadia. I tell you exactly what's going on because the agencies won't do it. These events occur over a time span of several minutes up to weeks, taking much longer than a regular earthquake. They don't cause large ground motion. They do not release great significant amounts of energy as once thought. These permanent seismic stations on the bottom of the ocean have helped build a robust catalog of events and tremors that seem more concentrated along the northern and southern parts of the Cascadia Fault. Yeah. What's going on, guys? It's happening. It's happening. The results of our earthquake drills that we've held, literally all around this United States. The drills that we've held have provided new insights on how the subduction zone and possibly other subduction zones behave over geologic time and time frames of millions of years. Unfortunately, our results can't completely forecast when the next large Cascadian megathrust earthquake will occur. We're coming close. We originally said the Cascadian earthquake would probably happen by 2018. It didn't happen. Now we're putting it at about 4 to 5 years from now. Why do we say that? Because we can catalog all these earthquakes almost on a daily basis. We can catalog the buildup of seismic energy. That's why we can look at maybe 5 years from now. That's why we're looking at 2 years over on the New Madrid, because the New Madrid seismic energy is building exponentially. We're looking at all the seismic energy. Using seismographs, GPS stations captured all the information. Looking at all the information, we can tell what's going on. Yes, some of the work has been done, and it does suggest a large earthquake event is likely to start in either the northern or southern section of the fault. Chris Goldfinger said it's going to happen in the northern section, between the Cascadia subduction zone and the Juan de Fuca fault. I show you that today. It remains important for the public and policymakers to stay informed about the potential risk. The risk involved in living within the subduction zone region, the fault zone, and to monitor and support programs that are still under development, such as earthquake early warning. Earthquake early warning. That's in effect in California and has somewhat in effect in Washington and Oregon. Those of you who have cell phones, you can take part in that. Go to your settings in your phone. Near the bottom of your settings, it has emergency information. Click on that. Make sure your phone is set so it can receive signals from the government stations that allow you to know when earthquakes are going to happen, when major events happen, not just earthquakes, but major events in your area. You need to have that opened up for your phones, for your families. Okay? When you have that done, you're also going to help expand monitoring capabilities of your family as well. And also, hopefully, that will mitigate loss in the event of large earthquake rupture. Hopefully. It's also important for people that live in these areas to become prepared to a point that they will survive a severe megathrust earthquake that is going to occur. We talk about preparedness for a reason. We're trying to save lives. We need to eat, we need to preach, and we need to live a lifestyle. We need to eat, preach, and live a lifestyle here. We must first teach ourselves, our families, and our friends what it means to be prepared and what to do when an emergency strikes. Develop preparedness plans. Write out and exercise emergency preparedness plans with your family. Develop emergency preparedness kits. Develop emergency preparedness kits. Don Patoka just put it here in the chat. Your plan should include staying in place, sheltering in place, bugging out to a predetermined location, and emergency evacuation as a refuge. All these things need to be written in your plan with predetermined limits on when you activate your plan. your preparedness plans with your family, our businesses in your areas, and our entire community is very important. That is what is going to save lives here. This is what is going to save lives. We talked about this in unending fury almost. Why do I call it fury? Because we need to do this, and we need to make it very serious. What I've been talking about here tonight is very serious. I've been working on the Cascadia projects for a very long time. Years, dating back to 2014. That's when we first did our Cascadia earthquake in Spokane, Washington, opening up all the emergency response centers all over that region. Now we need to activate our emergency response centers in our homes and in our businesses. That's truly what is going to save lives here. That's what's going to save lives for any community, no matter whether it's an earthquake or whatever emergency it is. Making sure you have preparedness plans and a preparedness kit ready. That's what's going to save lives here. I promise you that. I've got a testimony of it. I've worked on it. I've been working on this for a very long time. One of my preparedness kits here is here in my office, sitting up against the wall across from my desk here in our studio. Our other kits are downstairs, ready to walk out the door with. Literally. Literally. Are you ready? Are you ready to be like-minded and planned and ready to walk out the door when an event happens? Or shelter in place in your home? Are you ready? I hope so. I hope so. My mission here is to talk to you about emergencies and preparedness. That's what we've done tonight. Yes, we talked about aircraft emergencies as well. They can happen at any time. Unfortunately for Louisville, it happened this week. We need to still pray for those people. They're still having a hard time. But we also need to pray for all of us around this world so we can be prepared for whatever happens. We need to be prepared for whatever happens. Please, folks, please, you see our scrolling across the bottom of your screen, our PayPal locations. I haven't seen any super chats here tonight. We've gotten super chats here a couple three this week. We appreciate that. Across the bottom of your screen here, you have our PayPal locations. We can give us donations to our PayPal. We'd appreciate that to help keep this program on the air. You also see our email here. Send us your suggestions, what you'd like to hear on this program. Send us your comments, your criticisms as well. That helps build reliability for all of us, for you. We want those things. We have our email, rltnspdema@gmail.com. You see our address here, our mailing address, 504 Bethel Road, Box 401, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. We appreciate your help. We really do. Ask God to bless you. Ask God to be with you this day and always. Before we leave here, I want to share you something that I found in the scriptures a long time ago. It's in Hebrews this time. I'm going to Hebrews, actually not Hebrews, I'm sorry. This is Philemon. Epistle of Paul to Philemon. In verse 4, he says, I thank my God, making mention of thee always in my prayers, like I do for all of you. We pray each and every day for you guys. We pray each and every day for you. Paul says, hearing of thy love and faith which thou hast toward the Lord Jesus and toward all saints. Then the thing I want to share with you most, that the communication of thy faith may become effectual by the knowledge of every good thing which is in you in Christ Jesus. The communication of thy faith may become effectual by acknowledging of every good thing which is in you in Christ Jesus. For we have great joy and consolation in thy love, because the bowels of the saints are refreshed by thee, brother. The bowels of the saints are refreshed by each one of us, sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Trish Killian just gave 5 emergency management associates 1-month memberships. Taxi Slut, Deborah Lira, The Right Stuff, Shalia and C-Dub just got 1-month memberships. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Trish. God bless you for that. We appreciate it. Those people that just received 1-month memberships, please thank Trish Killian for that. God bless you, Trish. God bless each one of you for your support and love for our channel. Thank you for being here. It's greatly appreciated. Please consider supporting our program to our PayPal as well. We need your donations to help keep this program in the air. May God bless you. May God protect you this day and always. If anything happens tonight or tomorrow, we'll be back on there to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Usually we take Saturdays off so we can be together here. We never cease talking about you, thinking about you, and praying for you. That happens every day. But Saturdays we take a day off unless something happens. Then we come on the air all the time. We've done that in the past, we're going to continue. But on Sundays we come on the air about 12:30 Sunday afternoon for a special program, worship service of sorts. It's called Come Follow Me, the Savior Says. It's a Sunday school class we hold every Sunday. We'd appreciate you also being here for that. Come Follow Me starts at 12:30 every Sunday. We'd appreciate you being here for that. May God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. Brothers and sisters, I love you to pieces. I always have, and I always will. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Take care, brothers and sisters. Have a good one. See you soon. Good night. Enjoy.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright.